It's YouTube Wednesday.
Okay, so here we are doing a duct tape body cast, basically, of Morgan, who is one of my awesome shop helpers. She's going to be the body for the R.O.U.S. You've seen the clear tape body casting technique in other videos, but I just wanted to show a short bit of it here so you got the idea. Once I stuffed it with newspaper, and I had this. Now I did her hands twice for front and back feet. That's what he looks like finished. Kind of a jump to the back of the video. Normally I try and show that up front. I'm using Rust-Oleum leak seal, same stuff you see on television, but this is the stuff that's available at Home Depot. Same exact thing. The head of the R.O.U.S., if you remember the turtle shell that I made out of a giant Easter egg, well, it is a tape cast of a giant Easter egg. That same egg that I just stuffed. And basically, I'm putting a coat of the leak seal over the whole body. What that's going to do is that is a nice thick paint that actually gives a latex rubber skin. And I'm going to do that because it's going to hide all the tape joints and stuff. I'm editing out me painting the other side because it's just me painting the other side, so you don't really see anything happening. I like to make sure that I want to get a good coat all over the whole thing. And here, I'm just going in, I'm putting up some loose plastic on the head, because I want to shape that foam. And to do that, I've got to peel off the clear tape. And basically what I did was I foamed it inside of the shell, and I shot a little bit of foam inside of the body, which you could use great stuff, you could use, you could use Gorilla Glue. So you have lots of options there as far as how to get foam in there, how to just fill it. You could just fill it with newspaper, but it's harder to shape newspaper. So now I'm taking a hacksaw, basically. I use a variety of saws on foam. Hacksaw is one of them. And I am just getting a better rodent-like head shape. I'm going after one of the R.O.U.S's from Princess Bride, which is one of my favorite movies. So the head is shaping up nicely. I'm getting a couple different saws out now. This is a little PVC saw. I use it a lot on foam. And there's a different wood saw. And one of the other tools you'll see me use here in a minute is a wood rasp. And a wood rasp works really good on foam. You get lots of quick detail, and that's what I'm using now to just kind of shape the mouth a bit. Really good at sanding off the edges. I pulled out a box of eye forms, which are basically plastic Christmas globes, balls, whatever, to use as eyes in my monsters. And I picked out some clear ones that are good and shiny. Now I'm just using a wood rasp to carve out that foam so the eyeballs fit in. And they have rather beady eyes. Okay, and here I'm just using tinted silicone acrylic caulk in order to build up some flesh detail. And you can see I'm putting it on, kind of heavy. Then I'm throwing on some gloves. Now I'm just going to smear it out to give it a nice thick skin on the head. Because the head I want to be able to put some detail on. The whole thing gets covered with fur, but I do want good detail on the head, especially around the eyes if there's not going to be fur showing. They're going to show through the fur, obviously. So I want to get some fine eye wrinkles in there. It's got to have a good-looking nose, and they need lips in order to work. The way I'm doing the lips is I'm putting a bead around the mouth, and I'm flattening the side that's opposite the mouth hole. And that way I've got a nice curved lip edge. And now I'm taking naphtha with a brush, and you can see how just the naphtha keeps the caulk from sticking to the brush, and it just smooths it out and gets me a nice smooth looking skin. As smooth as I want giant rat skin to be anyway. It's not baby butt smooth. That's not what I want for this. It's a monster. And you can't really see me while I'm working the other side of the head, but I'm doing the same thing. And I will now take just a wooden skewer Always keep a pack of wooden skewers in your shop. They're useful for so many things. And I'm dipping it in the naphtha so that the caulk doesn't stick to it, and then I'm putting in some fine lines around the eye, and just some wrinkles on the head in general. Here I'm just taking some scrap fabric, and I'm going to make my ears for the R.O.U.S. This is a way that I've been using. This is Painter's acrylic latex caulk. I did a tutorial on corpsing a skull with that, and it worked very well. And since then, I've been using it for ears. And basically, I coat a piece of fabric with the caulk. And now, you can't see what I'm doing because of my fat head, but I'm basically sticking in a wooden skewer. You can see better on that side. And then I'm breaking it off at the length I want the ear to be. Now I'm going to drape the fabric over it and push it down to the head so that I get the basic ear shape. And I'll fill in ear details here in a bit. But that's going to be the basic shape of the ear. Now obviously if I use wire instead of a skewer, I could bend the wire a little bit and have any different, curved shape ear that I want. Right now I'm using more of the same caulk in order to put on and blend the ear into the head better and add the inner folds and details of the ear. Hopefully you'll be able to see that when I switch around to the other side. There I am blending it into the head, and see how I just used the caulk to make that ear ridge just go right onto the head more? And then I'm using my finger to blend down those edges. And the inner ear has a lot of folds, and there's obviously an ear hole, and I want to give the illusion of that, so I'm just using beads of caulk that I smooth down to do the same thing inside of the ear. Now it looks much more like a finished monster. Here it is drying. You can see the eye detail that I put on. You can see how the ears basically turned out. You can see he's got a nose. That's all caulking. Next, a couple hours later, it's all dry, and I'm just giving it a base coat of spray paint. This isn't the color he's going to be, but that's the skin color underneath. Kind of like polar bear skin's black. Well, apparently R.O.U.S skin is a desert brown. And what kind of spray paint doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt the leak seal that you're spraying it onto. But you see a lot less of those tape lines because the leak seal is on there, adding a good thick layer. These are pumpkin teeth. I use pumpkin teeth a lot. I wanted this thing to have ridiculous huge teeth. Obviously these are way oversized for any real rodent, but they come in great sizes, and I can just shove them in there, and then I'll hot glue with my pink hot glue sticks, and I'll hot glue around them to make the gums. And if you use a hot glue gun that's too hot, you'll get a ton of drippage. If you're doing gums or something that you want a sculpted look, I highly recommend a low temp glue gun. I was working with mine a little too hot there, so I've got some strings. Now I'm touching those eyes with the glossy black paint so that they pop. And I'm liking the looks of him so far. Hitting the gums and the teeth with Tandy leather stain, probably saddle tan, gel antique. It's important that you get the backs of the teeth also if you can reach them with a brush. If you can't reach them with a brush, you can't see them. This stuff, what I'm hairing him with, is mandala wool from Tandy leather. You always want to start at the back, and basically I am pulling off a hank of hair, spreading it out with my fingers as best I can, and then laying it on so it overlaps the last one. I will show this a little bit better later on the video, but I just want to explain the process so that while you're looking at it, you know what's going on. It comes in this long, it's actual wool from sheep. So it comes in this long hank that they've kind of pressed together. And you can pull it apart and separate it and get off a workable sized piece. And then I'll normally split those because my fingers can only spread so much wool at a time. But it's a great natural looking hair. And I'm using a contact adhesive, a spray adhesive from Tandy Leather, which is the strongest adhesive spray adhesive that I've ever used. It's really good stuff. I'm pretty sure I could spray a 5-year-old and stick him to the wall. When you reach something like a leg, the joint of where the hair on the leg goes down, and then so that rain will run off it when the animal is standing, and the hair on the body that goes back is a little bit difficult to get. That's why I had to jump away from the main body and start down on the ankle and work my way up. On this guy, I really want him to look a little bit mangy and a little bit, well, unkempt, because obviously it's a giant rodent. And they had such a great look in the film, and they were so much fun. That's really what I wanted to recreate. But you could see now the hair on the back goes from the nose backwards, the hair on the main body, and then the hair on his leg kind of changes direction and goes straight down. And knowing which way hair patterns go is a great big deal. For a split second there, I used a piece of metal in order to push down the hair. If you get adhesive on your fingers, it can be a nightmare. I'm also using baby powder on my fingers so that when I push them down, when I push down the hair, it's not sticking to making my hands sticky. Because you don't want sticky fingers while you're working with the hair, or else you're going to have hair-covered fingers and not as much hair in your project. So once again, I've reached a point where I've got to go to an ankle. I'm going to an ankle, I'm spreading it out. The hair is pretty much a cream or a white color right now, but it ends up, I'm going to airbrush it once it's all applied. I really like the look of the airbrushed hair. And I can do those hanks of hair as pretty much as long as I want, and get as mangy or as wild of a look as I want. Where the head connects to the body, which I'm not doing right yet, I actually get a good long one on. Because I want, almost like a mane, but not a big mane. Here you can see the other side that I haven't even done yet. I'm going to rush through this one and get him laid out. But hair work takes a while. This was probably an hour process, and that's nothing compared if I was trying to ventilate this, which is punch in the hair by hand. This is pretty easy. But this isn't a moving piece. It's not a mask. It's not a, it's not an animatronic. It's a static display. So I know he's not going to be, shaken too hard or moved around like crazy. So I'm confident that spray adhesive will, hey look, I'm drinking a Coke Zero. I'm pretty confident that the spray adhesive will hold this on for a good long time. And once it's all on, once all the hair is on, I'm going to hit it with hairspray. And that's going to give it basically a plastic coating, which will really help keep all those hairs in place. Then you got spray adhesive underneath, and you've got hairspray over top, interlocking all of them together. And because I'm airbrushing this one, it's really going to, stay on there and stay together. Here you can see I'm kind of selecting the sizes of hairs. Different body parts have different lengths of hair. So, I'm keeping that in mind a little bit. Get a picture of a hyena or get a picture of some kind of a good animal while if you're doing something like this. I doubt anyone is going to make a rodent of unusual size. But if you do, you can follow this fairly exact. But if you're going to make a hellhound or a big black dog or something for your show, then you'll be able to follow this pretty much the same. It's a really good way of making a hairy beast. I really think that the clear tape sculpture and, casting is a game changer. It's something that I discovered really just, I guess, the beginning of last year. And I use it a lot now. It is a really good technique. So you can kind of see the wool as I stretched it out. When I get to just that front shoulder, I'm going to go ahead and pause me talking, and past me will talk in order to show you the technique a little bit better and not in fast motion. But this was a great big project that actually spanned, you know, a good long time, because we did the cast 1 week, and then the body just sat for a while until I had time to pick it up and work on it again. So this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while. Here I'm using baby powder and just getting all the hair off my hands, so it's easier. And I have no idea why I just zoomed in. Guess I was showing something else. But look at that hair. Sure is hairy. There you can see my immaculately clean miter saw, which is covered in rust. Hooray, tetanus. And I'm just getting that arm done, and you can really, I think I slowed it down here so you could see the layering and how I just put it on over top of the other, overlapping by about half.
Okay, I just want to show how I'm doing this here. I've got a hank of hair, and I am spraying it out as much as I can with my hands. A couple big streaks of hair in there is okay, because that's going to help it look natural. And then I'm going to overlap it by about half with what is already down. Take my big piece, and I don't want to cut it because that's an unnatural end to all those fibers, and that would read terribly. So I just want to pull it apart. This is mandala wool. I get mine from Tandy Leather, but they sell it online and all over a bunch of places. It's not that expensive. I like it. It's the best hair around. From one hunk of it, I normally separate that in half, and then I separate that in half again. That's about as much as I can spread out with my hands and keep it looking natural and fairly streak-free. See, I just lay it down and I pat it. I've got spray adhesive down, and that's why it's sticking. To keep my hands from getting sticky, I am hitting them baby powder every now and then. Just put a little bit of baby powder in my hands, and I spread it around so that any adhesive will stick to the baby powder and pull it off. And every now and then I got to repowder. Got this one here. And I want to get these good and spread out, and that's how I've done this whole thing up to this point. And I'm really kind of narrowing in on getting this guy finished. And you always want to start at the back and work your way forward, because hair lays on top of each other, and that's what looks natural. If I start at the front and work my way back, his coat would be going the wrong way. Alright, a little more in here. Alright, I'm ready to knock out his head.
I want to note that when you're doing a mask, it's the same thing. You start at the base of the mask and you work your way up, and that's how you would hair a mask. I have a mask sitting on a shelf that I want to add hair to, because that was requested for a video. But it's going to be this same technique, pretty much. I might use a different adhesive, because latex is more flexible. But I also, I'm going to use mandala wool because I like it. You could use the acrylic hair, but I find it doesn't glue as easy because it's plastic. And I wanted it real sparse on the face. And here I just propped him up on his butt so that I can get his underside really quick. And no one's ever going to see the underside, but I do want to put some hair on there just so I know it's there. I didn't paint it really well, but at least it's got hair on it. Overall, this whole body, I think, took an hour, hour and a half. And some of that was messing with the camera. I'm filling in the back because I know I got to put a tail in there later, which I made out of a pool noodle. And I'll show you that technique down the road. And basically, I mixed up a gray paint, and I'm just running it through my $10 Harbor Freight airbrush, and I'm airbrushing the hair gray. Amazingly enough, it all kind of stops on the hair and doesn't really go down to the hands very much and to the skin tone. So I've got, you know, this great gray hair, and the skin tone shows through underneath. Had a couple clog issues with my airbrush because it's pretty warm here in Texas, so it clogs up pretty quick out in the garage. But I am very happy with how he's looking. The next couple stages are going to be simply adding claws onto his feet. And I probably won't show putting the tail on, but you'll get a good idea of how I did the tail on a future video. Currently, I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, okay. I actually just purchased a witch doctor necklace, and I pulled those claws off so that I could use them as claws on the R.O.U.S. And basically, I'm putting a slit in the hand, because remember I cast Morgan's hands with the tape. I just did all the fingers together, because, you know, you're not going to have long individual fingers with a animal like this. So I'm cutting a slit in the end, I'm putting some glue in there, and then I'm shoving the claw inside of that. And I've got 4 feet to do, and I'll paint over it and hide the glue. But basically, I'm just putting some nice, nasty looking claws on this guy. And then I'm taking hot glue and I'm building up like a bony ridge, just so it looks like the skin is stretched over top of, you know, good little finger bones. And you can... Rats have really cool looking fingers, but I'm more replicating the paw-like things that I saw on the R.O.U.S. from The Princess Bride. And again, this is going in my Monster Museum at Waxahachie, Texas, at Scarborough Renaissance Festival, which is going on right now. And just because the eyes lost a bit of their gloss, I think some of the haze from the airbrush caught them. I am just retouching the eyes to make sure they stay glossy. Because what I used on the fur was not gloss, obviously. And I'm putting some paint on the nose, and I'm kind of rubbing it off, just so it hits the creases and kind of darkens. And here he is. I'm going to spin him around. And see the difference the claws make? When you just saw both those feet together at the same time? Makes a huge difference. But there he is. He's done. Thanks for watching.